Winning Blueprint presents.
In the lab room, the market. Cincinnati Bengals.
Welcome to the market. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the market, the NFL's one-stop shop for all positions related to the football field. So this is free agency, the market where NFL teams go to become better. And we're going to start with the Dummy Dollars group. And first up in this group, the Cincinnati Bengals. They started out this offseason with the most money to spend. And so we'll start with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this here is my comprehensive list of every free agent available on the market in the National Football League. I've combed through this, and I've looked, and I've really decided what teams need and what avenues they should seek help at, so what racks they should be shopping at. And this here is the big board. I'll be referencing this the whole time that I'm talking to you today for this free agency discussion. And tell you what, these teams in this group have copious amounts of money to spend. Now, will they spend it? Probably not. There's a reason why they're in this group in the first place, because they don't like to spend money. But either way, I'm going to talk about what these teams need to address, how they need to go about addressing it, and what players are available to them in this market. So we start with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, looking at the Bengals and their free agency situation, they're notable free agents that they have coming up that they need to either re-sign or let walk and test the market are Nate Clemens, Chris Crocker, Robert Gathers, Gilberry, Thomas Howard, their punter, Huber, Michael Johnson, their defensive end, and they've already franchise tagged him, so he's no longer on the market. That's part of the reason why they don't have $55 million worth of cap space anymore. It's down to $44 million. Pac-Man Jones, or Adam Jones, as he likes to be known now. Manny Lawson, Ray Malaluga, Terrence Newman, Andre Smith. And you have to make a decision on one of these two field goal kickers, Nugent or Josh Brown. And also, your all-purpose guy, Hawkins, is a restricted free agent. So that's someone that you need to re-sign. I don't see him going anywhere. So let's talk about your notable free agents before we move on to the market. Of these guys that I just named, I think a few of them should be back if you are the Cincinnati Bengals. I think you let Nate Clemens walk. Let's go through these one by one. I think you let Nate Clemens walk. He made a lot of money last season. The production wasn't really what you would like it to be. Now, again, you guys asked him to play safety as well as corner last year. But Nate Clemens is past his prime. You can get cheaper, probably better labor than Nate Clemens. I think you allow him to walk away. Chris Crocker was an invaluable backup for you last year that ended up starting in a lot of games for you at the safety position. If at all possible, bring him back. He's a nice rotational depth guy that can help you in your secondary, and he's not going to cost a lot of money. Bring Chris Crocker back. Robert Gathers. Here's an old veteran defensive end that if he's willing to take a significant pay cut from his salary of last year, which was right around $6 or $7 million. If he's willing to take a significant pay cut to come back and play for the only team he's ever known, bring him back. He's a great guy in the locker room and a great defensive rotational guy for that line. Bring him back if he's willing to come back for a lot less. Gilberry, he's a solid guy. I don't see why you wouldn't bring him back. If he's not asking for too much money, he got you 6.5 sacks last year. He was part of the reason why you were one of the best teams at getting to the quarterback. He did his part, helping with 6.5 sacks. I don't see why you don't bring him back for depth along that defensive line if he has a reasonable price tag. Thomas Howard, again, marred by injuries. When he's on the field, he's highly productive. I don't see why you can't bring him back at the right price. Again, if he's willing to come back for less because he did not perform last year because he was injured, bring him back as long as the price tag is right. Huber, your punter, there's no discussion here. He needs to be back. Simple as that. We already talked about Mr. Johnson, who's been franchised. So we move on to Adam Jones. He was solid for you in the return game. He had some value there. At cornerback, he was solid. Again, all dollars and cents. If his dollars make sense, bring him back. If not, move on, get cheaper labor. Manny Lawson. No reason to go barking up that tree again. He wasn't productive. I feel like teams are starting to realize that Manny Lawson has extreme potential but is never going to really tap into that potential. You allow Manny Lawson to walk. Let him hit that market and see if anyone else is willing to pick up that price tag. Ray Mataluga, as much as I want to say hold on to this guy, I think you can do better. I think you can upgrade at the middle linebacker position. But knowing the Cincinnati Bengals, you want to hold on to your own. And I see Ray Mataluga being back, but you could use an upgrade here. It was evident in that Houston Texans game that he wasn't able to keep pace with tight ends and backs out of the backfield. He's just not built to run around in space. He's a guy that fills in the holes in the run game, very physical at the point of attack. And so if you're looking for a guy that's going to run around and cause havoc out in space, not your guy. If you're looking for someone to be a thumper in the middle of your defense, help you stop the run, that's your man. Don't know what the Bengals are going to do here, but I think if you're the Bengals, if you want to be smart about this, you allow Ray Mataluga to test the free agent waters. If he doesn't get the money that he thinks he deserves, then you go and have him come back at a reduced rate. Terrence Newman, getting up there in age. Look, he played a lot better than I thought he would at his age. I thought once he left the Cowboys, he was done. But he proved me wrong. He played really well for you guys last year. But if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, depending on what the price tag is for Terrence Newman, I walk away and look for some younger, talented players out on the free agent market at the cornerback position. Andre Smith is asking for an awful lot of money for a guy that was very, very unproductive in his first 3 or 4 seasons. Last year, he played at a very high level. And so, for all the laziness and all of the different things you had to go through with this guy that you drafted and paid a lot of money to, don't know if the Bengals are willing to invest that type of money that Andre Smith is asking for at that tackle position. He played really well for you last year, though. Again, I'm one of those guys that believes it's easier to deal with the evil you know than the evil you don't. You get rid of Smith, you bring in a guy for a very high price tag because, look, to replace Andre Smith at left tackle, you're going to have to pay a significant amount of money. Being that you made the playoffs, there's not going to be a left tackle sitting there waiting for you to select at 21, at 22 where you are in the draft. Now, you can get a left tackle at that pick, but don't know if he's going to play at Andre Smith's level. So you could hit the market and look around. There are plenty of tackles available this year in the market. But will he perform at the level that Andre Smith did for you in the 2012 season? I'm not sure. And so the Bengals have a decision to make. I don't think they're going to pony up the kind of money that Andre Smith is looking for. Someone probably will in this market. But if they don't, and he has to come back, maybe you're able to get Andre Smith at a reduced rate. Nonetheless, you're going to have to address that situation whether it be with Andre Smith or with another guy either in the draft or in the market itself. Nugent or Brown, pick one. I don't care which one, just pick one. You need a kicker. Both of them were consistent when they played. Josh Brown helped you down the stretch. Nugent was there earlier before he got injured. Pick one. Doesn't matter to me. And then last but not least, Hawkins. He has to be back. There's really no other way to say it. Andrew Hawkins has to be back. You need him. There's not many in the league like him. He's restricted, so you can match any offer. You can tender him. He's not going anywhere. Sign him back. Bring him back into the fold. So now we look at positions of need for the Cincinnati Bengals. And these are the positions that I've basically narrowed it down to. I mean, there may be several other positions, but I don't feel like they trump these positions. You don't want to name every single position on the roster as a position of need, even if it is, because it's unfeasible for a team to go out and spend money on every single position of their team. Some areas they're not going to choose to address because it's not as pressing as other areas. They're just going to address those through the draft. You don't have to try and fix your team through free agency. You're supposed to try and supplement some of the needs of your team through free agency, not fix your team through free agency. Free agency is a Band-Aid. It is not surgery, and teams need to treat it as such. So the positions of need for the Cincinnati Bengals are running back, linebacker, cornerback, safety, and if you want to be nitpicky, wide receiver. I put it in parentheses because if you think you still need a number 2 receiver, which I don't think so, I think you can really pick between the guys you have. I'm a big Mohamed Sanu fan. I'm also very enamored with Marvin Jones. So I don't think you need another receiver, number 2. So we'll see what the Bengals decide to do there. I don't think they'll go targeting a receiver because they drafted so many of them last year. So for the running back position, these are the running backs that I think are going to be available to you. And you need to pick between one of these running backs and see if they fit your price tag and pick them up. Hey, look, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis was solid last year. Very solid for you. Went over 1,000 yards rushing. However, you need 2 running backs in your backfield. You didn't have a change of pace back. And the way I feel about this Cincinnati Bengals is that they need speed. If this next running back they get doesn't have speed, then this move was made in vain. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis isn't outrunning anyone to the end zone. You need a change of pace back. Bernard Scott was supposed to be that back for you for years. He could never stay healthy. He was never consistent. And so you need to find that guy that's going to be the change of pace from Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. I've compiled a list of running backs that I think will fit your needs. And they should pick, should the Cincinnati Bengals, from one of these backs. Now look, this free agent market is filled with backs, but all of them won't be able to help the Cincinnati Bengals, at least not in the capacity I believe they need help. So I've listed these 5 running backs. Chris Ivory, he's a guy that was not showcased the way he should have been in New Orleans. He's never really gotten a chance to show what he can do. The one season that he played a lot, he went over 1,000 yards. He's a guy that consistently rushes for about 5 yards a carry. In limited duty, I think when given the opportunity, this guy can shine. Reggie Bush, we know what Reggie Bush is. He's a guy that I don't think he's your main ball carrier, but when used in spells and used in the right capacity, he's one of the most dangerous guys out of the backfield, running and catching the football. He needs to be in space. The Bengals need a guy that's good in space. This could be a really good fit for the Cincinnati Bengals. Felix Jones, the running back from the Dallas Cowboys that was drafted out of Arkansas, a guy that, when healthy, has some speed to burn, has always been inconsistent, but when he's given space, he's got speed. And so maybe a change of scenery might be what Felix Jones needs to take it to the next level. LaRod Stevens-Howling is a running back that not a lot of people are going to be talking about. If you're looking for a bargain basement deal, if you're looking for a pink tag deal, this could be your man. And the running back from Arizona, very fast, very shifty. He can do a lot of things for you out of the backfield on third downs. If you're looking for a cheap alternative to some of these guys that are going to command a little bit more money on the market, LaRod Stevens-Howling could be your man. Chris Rainey, he was released by the Steelers, and we know that the Cincinnati Bengals are a team that loves to give guys second chances. Chris Rainey was a guy that was charged with assault, and so the Steelers weren't going to have it. They released him. He's a guy with a lot of speed, though. Remember, he came from Florida, part of that backfield with him and Will Demps. He can run the football, and he's extremely fast. He could be the change of pace back that the Cincinnati Bengals could be looking for. He won't cost a lot. Who knows? Maybe you take a flyer out on him as well. So that's the running back group. Looking at the cornerback situation for the Bengals, you're going to need to replace your cornerback situation. Your cornerback situation last year was a lot of old seasoned veterans. You got to get younger at the cornerback position. All you have right now is Leon Hall and a bunch of older guys. Time for you to start looking to get younger at the cornerback position. Aqib Talib will be one of the most sought after cornerbacks in the free agent market. Brent Grimes is another guy that can help you. He's 30 years old and he's coming off of a knee injury. So you need to be careful there, but he's also a guy that can help you in the secondary. You look at Sean Smith, another guy that I think is, to me, one of the best and brightest stars out of this free agent group. He's 25, he's young, he's got a lot of football ahead of him. He's big, he's tall, he's 6'3", long and rangy. He could be a guy that you should go after very seriously because he can help you tremendously in your secondary. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is another guy that's going to command a lot of interest on the free agent market. Maybe he's what you're looking for. I don't know. He's going to be on the market. Comb through these cornerbacks and see if you like anything, and if you like the price tag, why not? Kerry Williams, another guy that's going to hit the free agent market. He had a very successful tenure with the Ravens, culminating in that Super Bowl win last season. He's going to hit the market. He's going to command a lot of attention. Maybe you need to make sure you do your due diligence and check out Kerry Williams as well. And also Derek Cox, the cornerback out of Jacksonville. He's a guy that you could also look at and see if he is what you need on the free agent market as well. Again, all of these guys that I just named are going to come with a pretty hefty price tag. But again, you have the money to afford all of them. That's why I'm naming them. You look at the linebacker position, and the Cincinnati Bengals are going to need a linebacker. Now, they may choose to address this through free agency, or they may try to go through the draft. Either way, I think they still will need a veteran presence at the middle linebacker position. And so Stuart Bradley, Donnell Ellerbe, Keith Brooking, Chase Blackburn, and Takeo Spikes. Hey, why not welcome Takeo Spikes back? These are all options for you at the middle linebacker position. If you're looking for a guy to come in and start, then of that list, Donnell Ellerbe is your man. But if you're looking for a backup veteran presence, all of those guys will do just fine. Stuart Bradley underachieved in Arizona. And Keith Brookings, surprisingly enough, played a very huge role in Denver last season and was ultra productive at his old age. And so a lot of these guys that I just named can come in and give you some production at a backup capacity. Who knows? Maybe even Chase Blackburn is someone that you could bring in and actually start. So look around, see if there's anything to your liking. Again, if the price tag matches what you're willing to spend, go after it. Last but not least, the safety position. There's quite a few guys you could go after. You need an upgrade at the safety position. Reggie Nelson is set at one of your safety positions. Across from him, there's a question mark. Chris Crocker filled in well, but you could use an upgrade. Chris Crocker is a solid backup, not a starter in this league anymore. So Deshaun Golson comes to mind first. He's going to probably be the most sought after safety in the free agent market. Take a look. Ed Reed will be there as well. So will William Moore of the Atlanta Falcons. I think it'll be hard to pry him away from the Falcons, but money talks and everything else walks. And if you have enough cash, you can get guys to reconsider their last locations. LaRon Landry, Jets got cheap labor out of him last year. Don't look for that to be the case in this offseason. He'll look to get paid. Who knows? He's a guy that's ultra productive when healthy. If he's healthy, he can be one of the best safeties in the league. you ought to take a look. Charles Woodson, I don't know if you want to go that route. I'm thinking Cincinnati Bengals are a relatively young team. They have veterans. You try to shy away from the veteran route if you want to go out and get a safety. I'm thinking a younger guy would be more of what you're looking for. I don't think Charles Woodson will be a good fit for you, but he is out there. Glover Quinn, the safety from the Houston Texans, will be available on the market. Again, do your due diligence. If the price tag fits, if his style of play fits what you're trying to do, by all means. And last but not least, Kenny Phillips. Can work out a deal with the Giants. He's a guy that's oft injured. But when he's healthy, he's a guy that's ultra productive at the safety position. And so that's the Cincinnati Bengals in a nutshell. You've got about $44 million worth of cap space. Don't be afraid to go around, sift through the racks, see if you can find anything. And if you find some things, toss it in the cart. Don't be afraid to spend money. The Browns have always been cheap. Talking about the owners of the Cincinnati Bengals. They've always been cheap. Don't be afraid to spend some money. You need to be aggressive in free agency. If you want to take the next step and stop losing in the first round of the playoffs, if you're tired of losing in wild card weekend, don't be afraid to open up the checkbook and make some things happen. Look, you're a team that drafts really well. Don't be afraid to make some moves in free agency as well as in the draft. That's been the Cincinnati Bengals in the market.
Cincinnati Bengals, the market.